So, you want to get your motorcycle license? Well, I happen to think that that is awesome. And today I want to do everything in my power to help you to achieve your goal. I'm Amy, and today I'm going to revisit the practical motorcycle test as done here in Western Australia in the countryside. So the test that I did when I got my motorcycle license. And I'm going to take you through it step by step and talk you through as much of it as I possibly can to give you the best possible chance of knowing what to expect when you take this test and to give you the best opportunity to prepare for it in any way that you possibly can. So basically, what I'm going to do for you today is I'm going to make the video that I wish had have existed when I was the one that was going for my practical motorcycle test. And I hope it's helpful. But first, of course, a little pep talk. Now, I know it can be daunting to deliberately put ourselves in positions where we are being tested and assessed and where there is every chance under the sun that we could fail. So it's like deliberately putting ourselves in situations where we could fail and where we're going to be told all the ways that we are wrong or that we are doing something wrong. So I know it can be daunting, but is being daunted by something or is the potential of failing at something really a good enough reason to not do something? I don't think so. To me, I think that that's all the reason in the world to pursue and to go ahead. And maybe I'm crazy, but that's always been my attitude to life. As long as it's not foolish, but it's just daunting and maybe a little bit scary because you know that the thing is going to challenge you and put you outside of your comfort zone, then for me, I always take that feeling of trepidation as a sign and as an indication that I should pursue, that this is something that I should move towards, that this is something that I should try. It's a challenge that I want to overcome. And for me, that's just kind of like a personal orientation and goal that I have for myself, is that I always want to be improving myself. I always want to be seeking out my shortcomings or seeking out the ways that I fall short of what I know my ideal could be. And if I feel daunted by it, or if I feel a little bit unsure about it, then to me, that's a sign that I'm not yet fully apt at that thing. I haven't fully mastered that thing yet. And for me, if I haven't mastered the thing yet, there's a little gremlin inside me, to my benefit, I must say, because this is a great cause for evolution and for transformation and for challenging myself and for trying new things out and ultimately for succeeding. Because how else can you succeed? You can't succeed if you never try. You can fail if you try, but you also can't succeed without trying. So for me, I'd always rather try, even if it means failure in the short term, because I know that the only way I'm going to succeed at something, the only way that I'm going to master something, the only way that I'm going to improve myself, the only way that I can evolve and become better, which is what I'm always looking for. It's what I always want. It's always what I'm seeking out, those kinds of challenges that make me better, more capable as a human, then I win. So if you're feeling trepidation, if you're feeling unsure, if you're feeling a little bit anxious about it, if you're feeling like you don't enjoy the humiliation of maybe getting it wrong the first or the second, or perhaps even the third time, then I would encourage you to persevere. It's so worth it. It really, really, really is worth it. I'll just include a little snippet of me once I had successfully got my license here.
Why are you happy?
Because I just got my license for the ride on the road, and I just did my first ride all by myself, and I felt so naughty and so cool.
Oh, that's great.
That's one happy girl. And let me tell you, I've never regretted my decision to go for my license. And I never would have gotten my license if I wasn't willing to have a go to try it out, and to fail. So I actually failed my test the first time I went for it. I'm not making any excuses. Failure happens. I live out in the middle of whoop whoop, so I couldn't find anyone to give me proper lessons. So I was kind of flying by the seat of my pants. I learnt by riding with old-time bikers that are very comfortable on bikes but have no idea about what the actual up-to-date, they're not road rules, but I guess techniques are. And so I got very comfortable on a motorcycle, but I only had word of mouth of what was actually required in the test and what the proper techniques were. So I heard word of mouth from someone else that was having lessons and got a bit of an idea in my head, never practically, but in my head about what I might be assessed on. So I was flying by the seat of my pants. And I wasn't expecting failure. I still did my absolute best and knew that there was a chance that I could succeed. And the only way that I would succeed was if I was as confident as I could possibly be and as comfortable on my bike as I could possibly be. But I also knew that I wasn't very well prepared. So I did fail the first time I did my test, and rightly so, let me say. Rightly bloody so. There were some things that I really did not have down and I really just did not understand because I'd never had a professional explain them to me. So I'm not saying that you are going to fail. Success happens on the first time sometimes. It does happen. It's rare, but it does happen. So don't expect failure, but also if you do fail and in any ways that you do experience failure or you don't experience immediate success, I would encourage you to look at failure as an opportunity to learn. And that's what I did. So after failing my first test, I had a professional in front of me who had just witnessed me riding and knew exactly what it was that she wanted to see me do and knew exactly what it was that I needed to be able to do to be able to succeed. So of course I wanted to use every drop of that opportunity to learn as much as I possibly could. So after my test on finding out that I had failed, I asked her to go through the test with me and to go through all of the points where I had failed and to explain them to me, to help me to understand them in humility and deep respect and joy that this assessor was willing to share this information with me. And I just absorbed it. I just lapped it up. And I was so grateful for the feedback. And ultimately so grateful for the experience as well, because I became a better and safer rider as a result of the experience. And I then was armed with this knowledge of what it was that I actually had to do so that I could succeed, which turned me into a winner. So then the next time that I did my test, armed with all of that knowledge that I'd gained from the time that I had failed, I succeeded. So I don't see that first failure as a failure. I see it as a success. In fact, I see it as the only one lesson that I actually had with a professional. And I always encourage lessons with a professional. I'm not saying that you should do it the way that I did it and fly by the seat of your pants. If there are professionals around you, go and learn from them. So even in my video now, because I'm going to literally take you through a ride through of the practical tests that I had to do and explain all of the things that the assessor was testing me on. I'm going to do all of that with you, but you've got to remember that I am not a professional in any way. I haven't worked closely with professionals. I'm very much an amateur rider, but a capable one and a safe one who has relatively recently passed the practical riding test. So I want to hand over or pass on all of that practical information to you. I want to show you what an assessment might look like, but just keep in mind, I am not a professional. I always recommend seeking out a professional to help you with these things. And if the professional says something other than what I'm saying, always go with the professional. So I'll do my best. I also want to just put a disclaimer here that I'm not meaning to give anyone an unfair advantage here. I'm just trying to show you or help you to be as prepared as you possibly can be. I also want to make another disclaimer that I don't know what is included in the tests in other parts of Australia and even in other areas in Western Australia. All I can do as someone who lives out in the countryside, in a small country town, is take you through the assessment that I went through and explain that to you. But you've got to keep in mind that where I live is going to be different to where you will be doing your test. And the assessor that I had may be looking for different things to what your assessor might be looking for. And I will do my best to cover all of that and to cover as many topics as possible. But yeah, you've got to keep in mind that while I want to offer you everything that I possibly can offer you, what I can offer you is specific. Let's just put it that way. So always seek out your professionals. Always listen to your assessor. Don't take everything that I say as absolute or definite, but do be open and do let me share with you what I wish had have been shared with me. And I will do my best to take care of you and to make you as best prepared as I possibly can. So in short, if you feel the fear, I highly encourage you to do it anyway. Again, that's how we learn, that's how we evolve, and it's by making mistakes. So it was by making my biggest mistake that I learnt the most lessons. So you've got to be willing, we've all got to be willing, always in all areas and all aspects of our lives, we've all got to be willing to be humble, and we've all got to be willing to learn, and we've all, like the only way to learn is to be really real and honest with yourself about exactly where you're at. So not fooling anyone. So all of this thinking that we're better than we actually are, it doesn't actually serve because it makes us uncoachable. It means that we can't learn. It means that we can't evolve through the experiences that we're having because we think that we already know everything. So no one can teach us anything. That's not good for them. It's not good for us because then we can never actually learn and evolve and grow beyond our current capacity. So we've got to be real about where we're at, but being real about where we're at doesn't mean being in false humility and pretending or acting like we're less capable than we are. We've got to own how capable we currently are, and then we've got to look for the next thing that we can learn. And we've got to be willing to get it wrong and to be humiliated. Sometimes the best way to find humility and to grow into the next step, the next version of ourselves, is through the process of humiliation. And I mean, we hate it because we think that with humiliation comes scorn and comes people having opinions about us, or comes bullying, or we think that it means something about us because we're not automatically 100% awesome and great at everything that we do. But being humiliated is literally the process, as long as it's not by someone that's cruel. Sometimes people are just cruel and nasty, and that's not the kind of humiliation that I'm talking about. But to be humbled, to find out exactly where you're at and to find out how much you have to learn is an awesome thing. And by going through this process, you're going to find out just how capable you actually are. You're going to develop your skills so that you become more capable, and you're just overall going to become a better and more able person. So I'm excited for you. As a rider, I get very, very excited every time I see new riders on the road. So riders with their L plates on. I don't think that it's a silly or degrading thing because I was there once. We were all there once, whenever that was. And I think it's excellent. So keep going, keep learning, keep preparing. And then I will do everything, as I said, in my power today to show you as much as I possibly can to prepare you for the experience. So I'm just going to go and get geared up. I'm going to jump on my bike. I'm going to take the bike that I actually did my test on, which is a KTM 390 adventure bike. And then we'll hit the road and I will take you through the practical test. I will revisit the test for you. I'm willing to do that. All right, let's go. This is the bike that we're doing our test on today, my KTM 390 adventure bike. Before we go to the test, let's check it over and make sure that it is safe and ready for the road. First, we fill her up. Gotta have fuel. Of course, you can just go to a petrol station for this, but I like doing it at home. Then we check our tyre pressure. In fact, we check our tyre pressure before every time we take the bike out, because one of the leading causes of accidents on motorbikes is incorrect tyre pressure. Then I'm going to give my chain a good spray. You shouldn't necessarily have to do this, but my chain's looking a bit dry after our last gallivant in the sand, and it's just a kind and good thing to do. Now, if I was actually doing my test today, I would probably give this thing a bit of a wash, but I don't just wash the red dirt off my adventure bike for no one. So she'll do for today, but you might want to do that. You want to impress your assessor. You would probably also, because your assessor is going to potentially check your tyre pressure, so you really got to do that. Like, that's just a safe thing to do. So do make sure you check your tyre pressure. And when you get there, they're going to want to check to make sure that all of your lights are working. So with someone, you want to check to make sure that your left and right indicators are working. You want to check that your front brake light is working, your back brake light is working, and that everything is in order. Obviously your headlight as well. You might want to check your oil, whatever. Just make sure that your bike is road safe and ready, and that you're not going to fail because there's something wrong with your bike. So my bike's ready to go. Now we got to get me ready to go. I've already got my Kevlar armored pants on. I've obviously got my big armored boots on. I'm going to put an armored jacket on, armored gloves on, and I'm going to put my full face helmet on. So though only legally you have to wear a helmet here in Western Australia when riding, we don't just want to show our assessor that we are confident and competent. We also want to show them that we're safe and that we're practical and that we're not going to cause harm to ourselves or to others. So gear up. And I would encourage you to always gear up. I think there's never a good enough excuse to not be wearing your protective gear. Like, what if that is the one time that something goes wrong? The one time you're not wearing your armored jacket is the time when someone comes flying around a corner and knocks you off, or doesn't stop at a traffic light and runs you over. It's just not worth it. It's not worth playing Russian roulette with your life and your safety. So don't just do it for the assessor, gear up for you as well. So I'm going to get geared up, and then we're going to hit the road. It's a perfect, clear and sunny day for our test. But you can't count on good weather. So you got to be ready for anything. You got to practice riding in all conditions. So as we're approaching our test, our first step is to calm down. It's okay and normal and even potentially helpful to be a little bit nervous, but you got to remember that we make our biggest mistakes when we're anxious. The most important thing is that you're really present and that you're as calm as you possibly can be so that you can receive, understand and follow instructions and carry them out to the best of your ability. And if you do make a mistake, don't panic. Don't try to justify it. Just accept that you made a mistake and then move on to the next thing. You're in the next moment. So we want to stay as calm as possible. It's all good. Again, worst thing that can happen is that you learn something because you were wrong. So when you arrive for your test and you get all signed in and you're with the assessor, the first thing you'll do is you'll come outside and you'll get ready. Now, I don't know if this is always the case, but my assessor was in her car following me, and I had an earpiece attached to my helmet, which was the first thing that she did. She attached the earpiece to my helmet and made sure that it worked. And then she was giving me instructions from within the car that she was following me in. I don't know if they do that everywhere or if that's just a countryside, we have limited assessors thing, but that's what we did. You might have someone on a bike following you, but either way, you're going to have an earpiece attached to your helmet. Then you're going to come out to your bike. Now, I've heard that some assessors like you to do a park up for the night thing, and they want to see that you know how to safely park up for the night, and then showing that you know how to lock your steering wheel handles, and then you kind of take the key out, step away from the bike and show that your bike is safe for the night. I didn't have to do that, and I'm not the expert on that because I never properly learned how to do that. But I just made sure that my bike was parked up for the night before the assessment so she could see that I knew how to do that. Then we checked brake lights, we checked indicators. She got in her car and off we went. So taking off steering lock, which is part of our park up for the night thing. Showing that we can safely start the bike, no problems. Oop, and I got to get my bike out of off-road mode because I am on the road now. And the first thing that you can demonstrate from the get-go is that you are confident and smooth. And that's probably the first thing that they're looking for. They don't want to see you stumbling and fumbling with your feet and with your hands. And showing that you're safe as well. Okay. Let's go. Checking everywhere as we go. So you'll receive instructions. Mine is to go left. Checking. So my assessor was very much wanting to see that I would stay in one of the tyre trails on the road. So you're either in the left track or the right track. So on roads that had lines, I did my best to just stay in the right track. And on a road like this where there are cars parked on the side of the road, you'd want to be in the track that gets you away from them as well. You'd also want to be demonstrating as you're going past roads. So you're checking your mirrors a lot and you're looking down every road that you go past. So you're mirror checking, like, I don't know how many times, maybe like 3 or 4 times a minute, but I just did it whenever it occurred to me. I'd check my mirrors and you do a really obvious head movement, look down every road you're going past. But you could do a quick flick of the head, but you want to make it pretty obvious what you're doing. And then mirrors indicate, look, take your corner. Now, we don't have roundabouts and lights in my little town, but we have railway lines, so I just made sure that I slowed down at all of the railway lines and I had a good look. And nothing was said about that, but I got the feeling that that was the right thing to do. So you will probably have traffic lights and roundabouts where you are. Hopefully you know how to handle them, but it's not going to be a part of my test. It's going to be a bit different. So we're staying in that right track because we've got a line there. And I'll show you that on the unlined roads, because there are unmarked roads where I am, I chose to stick to the left track just because I was less likely then to miss my mark. I didn't want to be accidentally in the middle of my lane or accidentally crossing over into the next lane. So that was something that I chose to do. So mirrors indicate, and we look to make sure there's no one there. That's the Milo, and then off we go. Picking our track and staying in it. Moving confidently, but also making sure we're not speeding, because that's an instant fail. Running stoplights, running red lights, speeding, instant fails. And showing that we can handle our bike smoothly. And I think that they can hear through the headset when you change gears. So you want to make sure that your gear changes are smooth as well. And that you're changing at the right times and at the right speeds. Round we go. And then we're turning here, so we do mirrors, indicate, look, move over in the lane because we're turning left here, and then we go left. So that's Milo. Mirrors, indicate, look, overtake. So this is, or move in your lane. So this is an unmarked road. So I chose to stick in my left track on this road, just to be sure. And we're going up to 80 here. So I was assessed at my ability to handle the bike at higher speeds. Which is practical out here. So what confused me a little bit is that in the safe riding booklet that the WA government puts out, they talk about your positioning in the lane being so that you can see around corners best. So basically you want to be able to see around any corner that you're coming to. So if I was going around a steep right bend, I'd be in the left track because I'd have more chance of looking around, and then as I'm going round the corner, I'd meander over to the right track. Don't do that in your test. No, and don't do what I just did in your test either. That's a safe way to ride, and I do that when I'm riding by myself. I do my best to be in the track that's going to give me the best view around corners and are going to give cars the best view of me as well. But in the assessment, in my assessment, what she wanted to see was me choosing a track and staying in it, not meandering from it, and giving very, very, very clear indication if I was going to move from it. So only really moving from it if I'm in the left track and I need to make a right turn. Then I would mirrors, indicate, look, and then move over to that track and stay in that track with my indicator on until I turned. See, we're coming to a railway line and I'm just having a good look. So this is quite a long road. And then further down this road is where I did my slow maneuvering. So I was told, hopefully I don't miss it, to pull up at this black and white pole here. So mirrors indicate, look, pull over, and I just pulled over onto the side of the road, and I left my bike in gear with my indicator on. And again, so that you're not shuffling your legs and your hands around when you do things like this, when you're stopping and you're taking off, the way that I have found is best is you put the bike into gear, so you leave it in first gear, and then the foot that you use to change gears, you put that one on the ground, and then you leave your other foot up on the back brake. So then I've got the clutch in, I would have my hand on the brake, I've got my foot on the brake, and I've also got one foot on the ground. They do not want to see you with 2 feet on the ground, and they want you to be in gear, ready to take off when you're told to. So that was the smoothest way I found to do that. So from here, I was asked to do my U-turns. So what I was told to do was to take off, do a U-turn up there, come back down, do a U-turn here, go back up, do a U-turn, and I'm pretty sure you have to do 3 full circles. But they're not quick U-ies. It's not just chucking a circle in the middle of the road. They want to see you go through the full process of mirrors, indicate, look, go. Mirrors, indicate, look, go. And after you go, you turn the indicator off, you straighten up, you go in a straight line, and then you go through the process again. So I asked for clarification with this so that I knew what kind of distance I had to do it. And she said more than 10 meters, less than 70 meters. So I just picked a spot. Where did I pick? I used that driveway as an indicator, and I picked a spot where I was going to turn around. So when you're good to go, we'll see if we can do this. So I'm going mirrors to make sure that there's no one behind me. I'm putting my indicator on because I'm pulling away from the side of the road. I'm having a look to make sure that there's no one behind me. And then I'm taking off. I'm taking my indicator off. Mirrors, indicate, look, go. Mirrors, indicate, look, go. Mirrors, indicate, look, and you keep looking, and then you go. Mirrors, indicate, look, and then you go. And then you pull back over on the side of the road. So I just did 2 rounds. You would do 3 rounds of that. You listen to your instructor when learning how to do the U-turns. Basically what you want to be doing is riding the clutch. So you got to be riding the clutch, and you're using your back brake, so your foot that's on the brake, to kind of pull yourself back, and then you're using the clutch and the accelerator to have enough juice to keep it tight as you're turning. Those weren't perfect U-turns that I just did, but anyway, we did it. And then, so you're kind of riding it, but you're braking a little bit. You've got enough momentum to keep you going and to keep you upright and to keep you tight so that you don't flop, because you're going to flop when you just keep everything loose. So you want to have kind of tension, something that you're pulling against as you're doing that. And when you look, you turn to look, you've got to remember that the bike is going to go wherever you're looking. So if you're looking, and I know this to be true because I've done it so many times, if you're looking around and then for 1 second you take your eyes from where you're going and you look at what's in front of you, you'll put your foot down. 100% of the time you'll put your foot down. So I know it can be nerve-wracking when you're doing slow maneuvers and you want to look directly in front of you, but that's the worst thing you can do. You've got to have confidence, keep everything tight, look at exactly where you're going, and know that the bike will go wherever you're looking. So obviously they want to see that you can do that confidently. You've got to do it, I'm pretty sure it's 6 U-turns, so 3 full circles, and you've got to not put your foot down. So resist the urge. If you feel yourself wanting to put your foot down, you're probably not looking up enough. So again, brake, ride the clutch, maybe apply a little bit more juice because you've probably not got enough tension to keep you taut, and look up. Look up. That's my best advice. Look up. Okay. And then from here, my next thing was the emergency braking. So I was told to go to the end of the road, or where that driveway is down there. I'll show you because we'll do it. Do a U-turn and then just try to get up to speed. And then when she said stop in my ear, I would slam on my brakes and do an emergency stop. So what they want to see with the emergency stop is that you do not skid at all, and that you can safely stop the bike without fumbling or dropping it or shuffling your feet or any other stupid thing. Within, I think it's about 10 meters you've got to come to a full stop, and without stalling the bike as well. So the thing with emergency braking is that you want to, when you're on the road, and I had to learn this because I do a lot of my riding on dirt, and on dirt you want to use your back brake more than your front brake. But when you're riding on the road, you want to be using the front brake more than the back brake. That's where your emergency braking is coming from. Okay, so we'll do our emergency brake. Mirrors indicate we're looking because we're pulling away from the side of the road. Off we go. So we're heading up towards our place where we're going to turn around. And because I'm using this driveway up here to help me turn around, I'm making sure I'm going through the full turning procedure. I'm looking in my mirrors, I'm indicating in. And as I'm in, I'm looking around and I'm indicating out of the driveway, making sure I'm not putting my foot down. And then we're just going to get up to speed. And then we hear stop. We stop. So we come to a full stop. We do it as quickly and as safely as possible. The road was wet for me, but it's fine. The thing with these, I'll just get off the road. The thing with modern bikes is that they have ABS. Now, you don't need to use a bike that has ABS to do your test, but if you're not sure if you would be able to stop the bike without the tires even skidding a little bit, then it's probably best to do it on a bike that has ABS. This one does, so like skidding just doesn't happen. So then your main concern is stopping in an adequate time and doing it safely and not stalling the bike as you're stopping it. So that's our emergency brake, and then we went from here. So for me, that was the more technical part of the test. I don't know if there are things that you'd be tested for other than that in other locations, but that was the U-turns and the emergency braking that people seem to get most anxious about. And when I was practicing, when I was learning how to do my U-turns, what I did is I went to a car park that was always very empty, and I would just go round and round and round inside parking bays. So I would pick 4 parking bays and I'd just do my U-turns in that, and I'd do figure 8s in 4 parking bays. So that's not doing the full coming up, indicating, looking thing, but it got me really confident and comfortable with slow maneuvering in a small space. And basically, if you can do it in 4 parking bays, or maybe you could stretch it out and do it in 4 parking bays that are further away from each other, then you're going to be able to do it in a 2-lane road, similar to this one. You might have curbs on your road. You might have a road like this. You'll have to find out. your instructor will know. So then we came out of here, and basically at this stage it's probably decided if you've passed or not, if you've met all the criteria, if you're indicating properly, if you're safe, if you stop when you're meant to stop. Actually, we haven't done a stop yet. There's a stop sign up here. But it's pretty obvious at this stage whether you can handle your bike or not. So up here we have our stop sign. I'm getting the instruction to turn left, so mirrors, I'm indicating. She didn't mind how early you were indicating as long as you were doing it safely and making sure that you were in the right part of the road. So we come to a full stop even though there are no cars. This is still a stop sign. And off we go. And we're not fumbling because our feet were ready. We were already in gear. Mirrors indicate, look, move over. This is a give way sign. So off we pop. And then basically we just did some slower riding in a suburban-like area, which is what we're going to do up here. And of course, we're checking our mirrors constantly, annoyingly, but safely as well. Mirrors indicate, look, we're getting told to turn here. We go into the correct lane or part of the lane, and around we go. Taking our position. This is an unmarked road, so I'm taking my position in the left track. You can aim for the right track if you want to. I tried to in my first one, but I got told that I missed it, so I thought this was safer. And it didn't seem to be an issue. Calm, confident, taking it nice and easy, obeying all the road rules, checking our mirrors, being safe, confident, calm, and not a right pain in the ass. There's a car here, so what we're going to do is nope, they're pulling out. And we're just going to allow them to do that. Okay, then we're getting told to turn here, so we mirrors indicate, look, go over. We're following the car that pulled out in front of us. And this is also an unmarked road, so I'm sticking to the left. Bit of gravel there. Potential for a slip and slide. But we are calm riders, so we don't mind. We can handle it. Going all the way around. So if that car hadn't have pulled out in front of us, what I would have done is I would have made sure that I miloed my way around it. I mirrored, indicated, looked, and went all the way around. Okay, this is not where I went on my test. I've taken a wrong turn. but that's okay. We'll just go back out the way we can go out that way. Mirrors indicate, look. And then at this stage, it well and truly is decided. The decision has been made. And as long as you don't do anything really stupid or unexpected on your way back to where you started your test from, you may have passed. But if not, or if you feel like you made a few too many mistakes, just get ready to take it with a smile and gratitude, and ask for as much feedback as your assessor is willing to give you. Because remember, they are professionals. They do this all the time. They know exactly what they're looking for. So if anyone can teach you what it is that they need you to do or that they want to see you do, it's them. So pick their brains, learn as much from them as you possibly can. Go back to your instructor or whoever it is that's been riding with you, and just practice. And if you know the route that they're going to use, so after my first test, I knew that we were going to use this route. The first and second time was slightly different. We went about it in a different direction. So we went the opposite way to what we just did the first time. But once I kind of knew where we were going to go and the kinds of things that we were looking for, I just went over and over it, practicing all my maneuvers, practicing my positioning on the road, practicing my Milo, because that was a thing for me. The road positioning and the proper Milo technique were my biggest downfalls. And then we pull back in. And we would park up. You'd probably do it in gear. That's just me automatically going into my preferred mode. Okay. So that's it. I mean, it seems really simple, doesn't it? And like your test might have more involved in it. Like I said, there might be roundabouts, traffic lights, more traffic. There's hardly any traffic here. Your assessor might not care so much about your positioning in the lane. There'll be things that my assessor really cared about that yours maybe doesn't see as so significant, and there'll be things that you'll get asked to do and you'll get assessed on that I just can't be assessed on here. So it's all good. You can do it. And like I said, if you get it wrong, if you make a mistake, if you fail, if you don't pass, find out why. Find out why. Don't just try to scrunch the whole thing up and pretend that it didn't happen. Let yourself be humiliated, be in humility, and genuinely ask and seek to know. And I guarantee you, even if it takes you 3, 4, 5 times, or if you get it on the first time, you'll get it. The only thing that can happen is that you improve every time you do it. And that's what we want, right? We want to improve every time we do something. So be willing to put in the hard work. it's worth it. I promise you. It's so, so, so fun and so rewarding. I've loved every moment of it. So that's all. Thank you so, so much for joining me. I hope that was at least a little bit helpful for at least someone out there. And just remember that I don't know what the test is like where you are, but here in WA, it's gonna look a little bit like that. Something like that. So enjoy your motorcycling journey. Have fun with it, try to enjoy it. Be willing to learn and to improve. And get ready for the joys of the freedom of being on your own motorcycle, all by your little self, grown up and free. I promise it's worth it. So thank you. I'll see you next time. Woo! Look at this smoke. I don't know if you can see it on the camera, but it is thick.